Have you ever noticed that feeling? That irresistible pull when something is left unexplained? It's the reason you'll stay with me until the end of this video. What if I told you that curiosity, this maddening, irresistible itch, isn't just some random quirk of human psychology? What if it's the single most powerful force that's driven our species from caves to cosmos? We're all born with this. The unstoppable drive to push beyond our boundaries, to question everything we've been told, to find what lies on the other side. By the end of the next 15 minutes, you'll understand why you can't look away from a mystery, why your brain releases the same chemicals during a plot twist as it does during sex, and why some of humanity's greatest minds believe we're fundamentally hardwired for wonder. The most dangerous thing in the universe isn't knowledge, it's the desperate need to know. You're about to embark on a journey through humanity's most defining trait. By the end of this video, you'll understand why curiosity is both our greatest gift and our most dangerous compulsion. You'll discover the exact neurological pathways that fire when you can't resist clicking on that mysterious link, and why some of history's greatest minds believe we're hardwired for wonder. Have you ever wondered why we wonder? Think about it. Right now, you're investing your most precious resource, your time, to listen to me talk about being curious about curiosity.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
We're all Neo in that moment, every day of our lives. And almost invariably, we choose the red pill. But why? What's happening in our brains when curiosity takes hold? The neuroscience of curiosity reveals something fascinating. When we encounter something novel or puzzling, the brain's reward system activates before we even find the answer. It's as if evolution has programmed us to get high on the question mark. Dr. Matthias Gruber, a cognitive neuroscientist at Cardiff University, discovered that when curiosity is triggered, there's increased activity in the caudate nucleus, the same region that lights up during reward anticipation. Even more fascinating, the hippocampus, our memory center, simultaneously kicks into high gear. In other words, curiosity doesn't just make us want answers, it actually prepares our brains to remember them. It's nature's learning hack, hardwired into our neural circuitry.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
But here's where things get interesting. There's a paradox at the heart of curiosity. The same neural mechanisms that drove Einstein to unravel the mysteries of the universe also compel us to check what's inside that mysterious email with the subject line, "Do not open." Is curiosity truly a virtue? Or is it, as the ancient myths warned, a dangerous temptation? From an evolutionary perspective, curiosity is a bit of a mystery. Most survival traits make immediate sense. Hunger drives us to eat. Fear keeps us from danger. But curiosity often does the opposite. It pushes us toward the unknown, the risky, the uncertain. So why did we develop this seemingly counterproductive trait?
It's about finding out who we are and where we came from.
The answer might lie in our distant past. Early humans who explored new territories found new food sources. Those who experimented with strange plants discovered medicines. Those who wondered what was beyond the horizon found better hunting grounds or safer shelter. In a study published in Nature Communications, researchers from University College London proposed that curiosity evolved as an optimal strategy for learning in uncertain environments. Using computational models, they demonstrated that organisms with higher curiosity drives acquired more useful information over time. But there's a delicate balance. Too little curiosity, and you miss opportunities. Too much, and you might not live long enough to pass on your genes.
Sometimes it's the very people who no one imagines anything of who do the things that no one can imagine.
This evolutionary sweet spot might explain why humans don't all share the same level of curiosity. We evolved to have a diversity of curiosity levels within our populations, from the cautious to the recklessly inquisitive. Modern personality psychology measures this trait as openness to experience, one of the big 5 personality factors. High openness is associated with intellectual curiosity, aesthetic sensitivity, and preference for variety. But here's something that might surprise you. Your level of curiosity isn't just about who you are, it's about when you are. Studies show that curiosity peaks in early childhood, declines through adolescence, and then gradually diminishes with age. But that's just the average curve. Some individuals maintain childlike wonder throughout their lives.
My experience is, you go talk to kindergarten kids or first grade kids, you find a class full of science enthusiasts. And they ask deep questions. What is a dream? Why do we have toes? Why is the moon round? What's the birthday of the world? Why is grass green? These are profound, important questions. They just bubble right out of them. You go and talk to 12th grade students, and there's none of that. They've become leaden and incurious. Something terrible has happened between kindergarten and 12th grade, and it's not just puberty.
Experience shapes curiosity. The more you know, the more you realize there is to know. But also, the more you've seen, the less easily surprised you become. It's a paradox that defines the human experience of wondering. But what if there was a way to maintain the optimal level of curiosity throughout our lives? What if we could harness this evolutionary drive for maximum benefit while minimizing its risks? To answer that, we need to look deeper at what happens in the moment curiosity strikes. The moment of curiosity has a distinct physiological signature. Your pupils dilate, your heart rate increases slightly, your attention narrows. Your brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals, including dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction. In fact, curiosity follows what scientists call the information gap theory, developed by George Lowenstein at Carnegie Mellon University. When we become aware of a gap in our knowledge, it creates an almost painful feeling of deprivation. We become obsessed with filling that gap.
The secret impresses no one. The trick you use it for is everything.
This is why clickbait works. This is why mystery novels sell. This is why you can't stop watching a TV show after a cliffhanger ending. But not all curiosity is created equal. Psychologists distinguish between two types: diversive curiosity and specific curiosity. Diversive curiosity is broad and scattered. It's what makes you browse Wikipedia for hours, jumping from topic to topic. It's exploratory, sometimes aimless. Specific curiosity, on the other hand, is focused and persistent. It's what drives scientists to spend decades studying a single problem.
Like this, you're not even looking at the problem.
We're very aware of the problem. I mean,
Okay, good. What's the problem? We got to think differently.
Both forms serve different purposes. Diversive curiosity helps us discover new possibilities. Specific curiosity helps us master complex domains. But what triggers curiosity in the first place? The answer lies in a delicate balance between the familiar and the unfamiliar. Psychologist Daniel Berline identified what he called the sweet spot of curiosity, things that are novel enough to be interesting, but not so complex as to be overwhelming. Too familiar, and we're bored. Too strange, and we're anxious. This sweet spot isn't fixed. It shifts based on expertise. What's confusing to a novice might be boring to an expert. What's fascinating to a specialist might be incomprehensible to a layperson.
You approach language like a mathematician, you know that, right?
The implications are profound. Our curiosity isn't just responding to the world, it's responding to the relationship between the world and our current understanding of it. Think about the last time you were truly captivated by something. Chances are, it was something that pushed just beyond the boundaries of what you already knew or understood. This brings us to one of the most powerful aspects of curiosity, its relationship with uncertainty. In quantum physics, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle states that we cannot simultaneously know both the position and momentum of a particle with perfect precision. The more precisely we know one, the more uncertain we must be about the other. Curiosity operates on a similar principle. The more certain we are about something, the less curious we become about it. Certainty is the death of wonder.
I should have said a poet. So beautiful. So beautiful. had no idea.
Throughout history, the greatest discoveries have come not from those who were certain, but from those who embraced uncertainty. Consider Socrates, who famously said, "I know that I know nothing." His embracing of uncertainty, his comfort with not knowing, is precisely what made him one of history's greatest thinkers. Einstein wondered what would happen if he rode alongside a beam of light. Marie Curie wondered why uranium rays could fog photographic plates. Darwin wondered why finches on different islands had different beaks. Each wondered. Each was comfortable with not knowing, at least temporarily. Each followed their curiosity into uncharted territory.
We are all different. However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. While there is life, there is hope.
But uncertainty is uncomfortable. Studies show that humans have a strong preference for the known over the unknown, even when the unknown might offer better options. This uncertainty aversion has been demonstrated in numerous psychological experiments. In a 2019 study published in Nature Neuroscience, researchers found that uncertainty actually amplifies the dopamine response to information. In other words, discovering something you weren't sure about feels more rewarding than confirming something you already suspected. This is why plot twists work. This is why gambling is addictive. This is why we slow down to look at accidents on the highway.
I see people. They don't know they're dead.
The finest line in human psychology may be the one between harmful uncertainty and beneficial uncertainty, between the anxiety of not knowing and the thrill of discovery. So how do we navigate this line? How do we cultivate the right kind of curiosity? The answer might lie in understanding the different ways curiosity manifests across disciplines. Curiosity takes different forms in different domains. Scientific curiosity seeks explanations. Interpersonal curiosity seeks understanding of others. Artistic curiosity seeks new forms of expression. Philosophical curiosity seeks meaning. Each type has its own methods, its own questions, its own thresholds for satisfaction.
I stand upon my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way. See, the world looks very different from up here.
Scientific curiosity requires empirical evidence. It asks, how does this work? It's satisfied by explanations that can be tested and potentially falsified. Philosophical curiosity, by contrast, often deals with questions that cannot be definitively answered through empirical means. It asks, what does this mean? It's satisfied by coherent frameworks that help make sense of experience.
What is real? How do you define real?
Interpersonal curiosity focuses on understanding other minds. It asks, what are they thinking or feeling? It's satisfied by empathetic connection and insight into human behavior. And artistic curiosity explores the boundaries of expression. It asks, what can be created? It's satisfied by novel forms that evoke emotion or insight.
I wish you'd stayed.
I wish I'd stayed too. Now I wish I'd stayed. I wish I'd done a lot of things.
Each form of curiosity has produced its own kind of revolution. Scientific curiosity gave us technology. Philosophical curiosity gave us ethics. Interpersonal curiosity gave us psychology. Artistic curiosity gave us culture. But the most transformative moments in human history often occur when different forms of curiosity converge. When the scientist asks philosophical questions, or when the artist applies scientific methods. Leonardo da Vinci embodied this convergence. His curiosity spanned art, anatomy, engineering, optics, and dozens of other fields. He didn't see boundaries between disciplines, only questions waiting to be explored. Today, we might call someone like Da Vinci a polymath or a Renaissance person, but perhaps a better term would be pan-curious, curious about everything.
And sit where they sit and do what they do, and at some center, that's what the Facebook is going to be about.
The digital age has transformed how we satisfy our curiosity. We have instant access to more information than any previous generation could imagine. And yet, paradoxically, we may be less deeply curious than our ancestors. Think about it. When was the last time you had a question and didn't immediately Google the answer? When was the last time you sat with uncertainty? Let it marinate. Let your mind wander through possibilities. In our rush to resolve curiosity as quickly as possible, we may be losing something precious, the creative potential of the uncertain mind. Let me ask you something that might seem counterintuitive. Could it be that the greatest value of curiosity isn't in finding answers, but in living with questions? To explore this possibility, we need to examine what happens when curiosity becomes a way of life. Throughout history, some individuals have elevated curiosity from an occasional impulse to a defining characteristic, a lens through which they view the entire world. These people don't just experience moments of curiosity, they cultivate a perpetual state of wonder. And research suggests this approach to life comes with remarkable benefits. A 2020 longitudinal study published in Psychology and Aging found that higher levels of curiosity were associated with longer lifespans, even after controlling for education, health behaviors, and social factors. Other studies have linked curiosity to greater life satisfaction, more meaningful relationships, and higher cognitive performance in later life.
It's a funny thing about coming home. Looks the same, smells the same, feels the same. You realize what's changed is you.
But perhaps most significantly, curious people seem better equipped to deal with life's fundamental uncertainties: aging, change, loss, and even mortality. Why? Because a curious mind is comfortable with not knowing. It doesn't demand complete certainty before engaging with the world. In psychological terms, this is known as tolerance for ambiguity, the ability to function effectively in situations that are unclear or unpredictable. It's closely related to curiosity and is considered a key component of psychological resilience. So how do we cultivate this kind of enduring curiosity? How do we develop a mind that remains open and wondering throughout life? The answer seems to lie in how we relate to not knowing. Most of us have been conditioned to view uncertainty as a problem to be solved as quickly as possible. But what if we viewed it as an opportunity? The philosopher Bertrand Russell once wrote, "In all affairs, it's a healthy thing now and then to hang a question mark on the things you have long taken for granted."
Was nothing real? You were real. That's what made you so good to watch.
This practice, deliberately questioning our assumptions, might be the most powerful form of curiosity. It's not just about seeking new information, but about reconsidering what we think we already know. And this brings us to a profound insight. The most curious people aren't necessarily those who know the least. They're often those who know a great deal, but remain acutely aware of the boundaries of their knowledge. They recognize not just what they don't know, the known unknowns, but also the possibility that there are things they don't even know they don't know, the unknown unknowns. This is what psychologists call intellectual humility, the recognition that your beliefs might be wrong and that there's always more to learn.
Nearly fell through a hole in the boy's pocket. Someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's house, and stabbed his father with it just to test its sharpness.
No, I'm just saying it's possible the boy lost his knife and that somebody else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's just possible.
Studies show that intellectual humility is associated with better learning outcomes, more balanced political views, and stronger interpersonal relationships. But here's the paradox. To cultivate intellectual humility, you need confidence. You need to be secure enough in your identity that being wrong doesn't threaten you. In other words, the strongest curiosity comes not from insecurity about what you know, but from security about who you are. This brings us to perhaps the most important question of all. What is curiosity trying to tell us about the human condition? Throughout this journey, we've explored curiosity as a neurological mechanism, an evolutionary adaptation, a psychological state, and a way of life. But we haven't yet addressed the deepest question: why does curiosity exist at all? To approach this question, we need to step back and consider something fundamental about human consciousness. Consciousness itself might be understood as a gap detection system, a continuous scanning for what we don't know, don't understand, or can't predict. Think about it. You're not consciously aware of most of what your body is doing right now. Your heart is beating, your lungs are expanding and contracting, your digestive system is processing food, all automatically, beneath the threshold of awareness. What you are aware of is primarily what's novel, what's changing, what's uncertain. Your consciousness is drawn to the boundaries of your understanding, to the places where your predictive models of the world don't quite match reality. In this view, curiosity isn't just a feature of consciousness, it's the very essence of consciousness. To be conscious is to be curious. Perhaps this explains why children are so naturally curious. Their consciousness is encountering a world full of novelty, full of mismatches between expectation and reality. Every why question is an attempt to resolve these mismatches, and perhaps it explains why maintaining curiosity throughout life is so difficult, yet so rewarding. It requires us to continuously seek out the boundaries of our understanding, to intentionally place ourselves at the point of uncertainty. This point of uncertainty, this edge between what we know and what we don't know, might be where we are most fully alive, most fully human. The philosopher Gabriel Marcel distinguished between two kinds of questions: problems and mysteries. Problems are puzzles that can be solved. Mysteries are questions that cannot be solved but can be engaged with. Much of the modern life treats everything as a problem to be solved. But what if the most important aspects of existence are actually mysteries to be engaged with? What if curiosity is not just a means to acquire knowledge, but a way of relating to the fundamental mysteriousness of being alive? From this perspective, the purpose of curiosity might not be to eliminate uncertainty, but to dance with it, to find meaning not in final answers, but in the ongoing inquiry. And this brings us to a radical possibility. What if curiosity is more than just an evolutionary adaptation or a neurological mechanism? What if it's a fundamental aspect of existence itself? The physicist David Bohm proposed that the universe itself might be understood as a process of continuous unfolding, of information giving rise to new forms, which in turn generate new information. In this view, human curiosity is simply one manifestation of a universal property, the tendency of complexity to generate more complexity, of information to spawn more information.
It's like I'm reading a book, and it's a book I deeply love. But I'm reading it slowly now. So the words are really far apart, and the spaces between the words are almost infinite.
We might be the universe's way of knowing itself, its way of exploring its own possibilities. And if that's true, then curiosity isn't just a trait we possess, it's what we are. It's what everything is. I began this exploration by asking why we wonder. Perhaps the answer is that wondering isn't something we do, it's something we are.
The universe is a pretty big place. It's bigger than anything anyone has ever dreamed of before. So if it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space.
In a universe defined by uncertainty, curiosity might be the most appropriate response, not a means to an end, but an end in itself. As we close, I want to leave you with a question rather than an answer. What would your life look like if you embraced uncertainty? If you saw not knowing not as a problem to be solved, but as an invitation to wonder? The curiosity gene isn't just in our DNA, it's in the fabric of reality itself. And every time we wonder, we're participating in the universe's oldest and most essential activity, the exploration of what's possible. Thank you for joining me on this journey to the point of uncertainty. If you've enjoyed this exploration, please like, subscribe, and share your own moments of curiosity in the comments below. Remember, uncertainty isn't just something to overcome, it's something to embrace. Until next time, keep wondering.